There is outrage tonight from sexual assault victims of former Ohio State University Dr. Richard Strauss. More than 200 of them have Title IX cases against the university pending in federal court. Hundreds more settled with OSU. Now, Ohio State publicly apologized to the Strauss survivors back in 2019 after the release of this massive Perkins Coie report. The university paid $6 million for this independent study that documents 20 years of abuse. But now OSU is trying to block admission of this report, its own study, in court. In May of 2019, then OSU President Michael Drake joined the board president to apologize to Strauss survivors and admitted the university's fundamental failure in investigating complaints from students and staff. All of it detailed in the massive report from the Perkins Coie law firm that cost the university $6 million and involved interviews with hundreds of students, coaches, trainers, medical professionals, and university leaders who suspected or even knew what Dr. Strauss was doing to young men over a 20-year period.
They knew 7 years before I landed at the Ohio State University, they knew about him. You know, and that's where I can forgive a lot of things, Colleen. I really can. But I'll never forgive them for knowing.
And Al Nowakowski says he cannot forgive them now for trying to block admission of that report, the document that let the world know what had happened. Nowakowski was an 18-year-old hockey phenom from Canada when he was recruited by Ohio State in 1988. He says he was molested by the team doctor, Richard Strauss, just days after arriving on campus. After being sent one of our reports on the culture of cover-up at Ohio State in 2020, he realized he was not alone and for the first time admitted he had also been drugged and raped by Dr. Strauss.
Just everyone's got their own story and their own memories of what happened. And 3 years ago, when you and I first talked, I couldn't mention the word rape or abuse or fondled or any of those things without breaking down. Over the last 3 years, I've learned to be strong. I've learned to not be ashamed.
Nowakowski also learned that at least two of his hockey teammates, a friend on the volleyball team, a friend on the football team, are among the victims. Some contacted him privately, thanking him for standing up publicly for victims, and now for questioning OSU's effort to block its own report, making the court case longer and more expensive.
I'm so disappointed in the Ohio State University. I'm so embarrassed by their lack of empathy and their lack of trying to get to the truth.
Now, in a statement to NBC4, an Ohio State University spokesman pointed to the arguments made in the court filing from the university, saying it respects the findings and the conclusions in the Perkins Coie report. But because of the challenges of the time passage and unavailability of witnesses and material, they say it is impossible for the report to be a complete factual record for litigation purposes, and that the plaintiffs are each required to establish the record and proof of their individual allegations. An attorney for the plaintiffs tells me they are optimistic the court will recognize that this report is what it says it is, an independent investigation of decades of abuse that OSU failed to investigate and failed to stop.